Hey, Tony Chips here, Chiappetta Shoes again. Workshop Live. We got two for today, baby. We got two Workshop Lives today. Today, on this Workshop Live, we're talking about a B8 foot type, new set of orthotics, about a month old. Doing a pretty good job, helping the rest of the body, posturally speaking, hold up. A lot of standing on her feet throughout the day. With a B8 foot type, you have a slight forefoot valgus. More rigidity in the system with a forefoot valgus. You have the kind of tighter alignment with the midfoot bones here. So we have a forefoot valgus of maybe like 5 degrees, maybe a little bit more to 10. So a slight forefoot valgus. Rear foot, whole lot of valgus, so there's a lot of mobility in the rear foot. B foot types are kind of a funny bunch where normally when we're dealing with a flat foot, it's mobility in the forefoot and the rear foot, or neutral forefoot, mobility in the rear foot. For the B foot types, there's rigidity in the forefoot, so it creates a weird flex point in the middle of the foot where you have rigidity. You have usually a little bit more narrower of a gait. The steps are nice and even. So when you see B foot types, their hips and posture is usually pretty balanced, heel to toe pretty nicely, but the rear foot, there's a lot of pronation in there. So, new set of orthotics. The odd thing that we're dealing with today, I'm talking about kind of the midfoot strain, is we have kind of a fifth met pressure. Looking at the orthotics, watching her walk, she's got a ghost, I want to say, with the orthotic. It looks pretty good, but we're still dealing with a lot of pronation or extra mobility. So today, on this lovely foot, we're going to set her up. Just going to go with a standard scaphoid pad placement. Now with this here, scaphoid modifications, you can do it a couple of different ways. So you do just the bottom here, you can wrap it against the side, and then the placement of this is really important too. If you want more rear foot control, you're going to target right off the calcaneus or heel bone. If you want more forefoot control, more forefoot flexibility, more forefoot control, you're going to place it off the fifth met. Standard is right down the middle right there. So we're going to work that, and we are going to wrap it up against the side. Okay? So we're going to do that. And with this orthotic, I went with a little bit more flexible, still kind of good support with this multi-cork from Acor, 55 durometer, but I went with a little bit more flexible EVA FM. This is the 16th inch, which I just talked about earlier, what I use often with wedges, forefoot wedges. It's a little bit more flexible, holds the shape really nicely. So we're going with same material, Acor multi-cork, for that modification. I don't want to elevate too much or make it feel like there's an extra piece in there. We're just kind of giving a smooth transition, getting that scaphoid pad built up just a touch more. All right, now we're going to cut this other piece here. That. B foot types can be on the trickier side of things. A lot of times people that are just kind of like looking at feet, they don't know how to explain B foot types because they have a pretty narrow gait pattern. Their hip alignment can be off and kind of rotated and shifted, but there's still a very narrow path with a B foot type. So it's not your common flat foot. They're definitely less common, and it's more of a congenital thing versus kind of an acquired flat foot situation. So when we deal with B foot types, they tend to be on the more sensitive side of things. There's usually more neuromas because the forefoot's so rigid that it creates some friction points on the fifth, the third, and the fourth. So, okay. But we're not dealing with any neuromas in this condition. We are dealing with some extra pressure on that fifth metatarsal head and just mobility. The orthotics have helped pretty well. This is our 2-week checkup, posturally speaking, but she's still getting some pain in the foot. So we got to give her a little extra oomph here. Okay. Now, I'm going to get this glued up. Go. All right, that looks good. Yeah, perfect. All right, we're going to take a little break. I'll be right back. Thank you. All right, we're back. A B8 foot type, a lot of mobility in the rear foot, a little bit of rigidity in the forefoot. Custom orthotic. Posture is in decent shape. We got a lot of mobility in the rear foot. Nice heel to toe action. Pressure on that fifth met. Need a little bit more oomph in the scaphoid medial arch area. So take your top down. We have a combination of 2mm EVA FM, 6mm multi-cork. We're adding a little bit more scaphoid pad, medial arch support, using a 3mm multi-cork. So we're going to keep this uniform from a sensation standpoint. Both 55 durometer, nice easy transition, standard placement on the scaphoid pad. We could go a little bit more rear foot, but we're just going to go standard for today. If there was more postural issues with too much mobility causing knee, hip, lower back strain, then we would target the rear foot. But in this case, posture's in pretty good shape. She's feeling good, but she just thinks she needs a little bit more. And sometimes when you're dealing with people and feet and, you know, how you feel, it's, you know, you got to dive in. You got to say, okay, pain-wise, what's happening? When is it happening? What does it feel like? And, you know, you talk about all that when you're helping people out. But it's also constructive to ask, just, what do you think you need? You know, like sometimes, you know, you might have a customer that has no idea of, you know, any of this material. And it's still, you know, sometimes our body says, I feel like I need it here, or I need it here, or I need something here. And occasionally you'll get those kind of interactions, and you know what? It's good to listen, because a lot of times our bodies know best. All right, I'm gonna take this over to the grinder. All right. So that's going to be it for this one. B8 foot type, nice custom orthotic, good neutral support, a little bit more flexible of a core support piece, but we still got the 55 durometer multi-cork scaphoid pad, holding things up a little bit more steady in that midfoot, stabilizing the foot, standard placement, wrapping up against nice and nice on the side. That's been it for today. If your feet hurt, Don't look anywhere else. Chiappetta Shoes is here to help. Thank you very much. Ain't no better than Chiappetta. Ciao.